Welcome to Kidmissing TV. I'm your host, Angelina Wilson. This is the case of 16-year-old Thomas Richey, R-I-C-H-E-Y. He was a white male, between 5'9" and 5'10". He weighed between 165 and 170 pounds. He had brown hair and brown eyes. He was known as Tommy. He wore glasses. He left home to go fishing on the Rogue River on July 11th, 1950. I'll tell you why that intrigued me. July 11th, 1950 would have been my uncle's third birthday. It was my uncle's third birthday. The river was 4 miles outside of Prospect on Mill Creek Lane. What the? Okay, he disappeared in 1950. I said that already. But... Oh, Prospect, Oregon. Oh my goodness. Anyway. And 6 miles upriver from the Lost Creek Dam. He liked to fish in an area where there was a cable car above the river that could be stopped in the middle and fished from above. When he didn't return home on that evening, they began searching for him. His fishing pole, as well as several fish he caught, were found inside the cable car. The cable car was braked in the middle of the river. A bloodhound tracked his scent to the river's edge, where 2 footprints were found near the cable car crossing, where his fishing tackle was located. But they continued with extensive searches and never found him. 20 years before, his mother's first husband and 6-year-old son drowned in the same area of the river. How sad. "72 years. Wow. Actually, it's been 74 years now. His great-nephew opened up his missing persons case. Did he fall into the river? Some people have thought that it was possible that he fell off the cable car into the river, but his body would have been found. So, they're looking for pictures of the cable car, which I did not find. I will look and see if there are pictures out there to include in the poster. As of the filming, I haven't made the poster yet. If he was fishing in the cable car, why would he leave his tackle on the ground? Yet his fish were in the cable car. That doesn't make sense to me. So it doesn't make a lot of sense. Okay, I'm going to read you a post from his great-nephew who opened his case. When I opened the missing persons case that appears on Nameless, I didn't quite have all the details of the disappearance yet, and just wanted to have DNA collected to compare to Tommy's brother, who is still living, to see if there was a matching CODIS. Unfortunately, we did not get any results from that. The cable car in this case is still the most mind-boggling part. It was reported to some degree, and I also discovered that the cable car had a puller and winch that had to be used manually to start, and brake the cable car. Tommy's brother and dad are the ones who originally went to the cable car when looking for Tommy and discovered the fish, rod, and creel inside of it. Okay, creel would be bait. It was the middle of the river, and Tommy's brother had to shimmy the cable line hand over hand to get into it. And he insists the cable car was not something you could easily fall out of. While they didn't actually fish from the cable car itself, the boys used it to cross the river to seek out better fishing areas. The cable car was built and placed near Prospect on the Rogue River by the Army Corps of Engineers, who were scouting the area for a potential dam site in the 30s. The Lost Creek Dam is what eventually transpired from this endeavor. I have contacted the Army Corps of Engineers to see if they have records of what the cable car looked like, since I cannot find anything even remotely close to what Tommy's brother describes. Unfortunately, I haven't gotten anything worthwhile. Cable car is described as being 7 feet in length, 4.5 feet by 5 feet wide, and about 5 feet high, and made of lumber with metal strapping. Okay, that's interesting. So it was made in the 30s. An accidental fall resulting in drowning was the main conclusion that law enforcement drew to explain Tommy's disappearance. After a week-long search, the community was asked to keep an eye out for his body, but no trace of his body, clothing, or glasses had ever been recovered. As the decades had passed, there has been some speculation as to whether or not Tommy may have staged the scene and purposefully went missing, either of his own free will or some type of foul play. However, there has been very little evidence to support these theories either. Actually, Heather V. is the person that wrote this, so this must be a great niece. Okay, here's his great uncle, his great nephew talking. Tommy is my great uncle, and I am the one who opened his official missing persons case. Since the investigation, I have learned more about the case and particularly the car. I would love your take on the information you could provide about your cable car experience and knowledge. Okay, so here's my opinion. I don't believe that he fell out of the cable car, because what I'm picturing is like an old ski lift, which would have a bar in the front. Now, he did have some bait up there with him, but they're still saying his tackle was found, his tackle box was on the ground. That doesn't make sense, because you've got your knives, you've got your weights, your bobbers, your extra hooks, all that stuff is in your tackle box. You wouldn't leave it behind on the ground. It would be up there with you. My father was an avid fisherman when he was young. And I guarantee if you were here and I said, Dad, would you take a little bit of bait, leave your tackle box on the ground, and go up and... No, would be the answer. Hell's no. So I think that's something to consider. Why was his tackle box on the ground with footprints next to it? Which tells me he had been fishing from that spot where his tackle box was. Then all of a sudden, his other stuff, his bait, fish he caught, and his rod were up on the, no. Something seems staged here, in my opinion. And it just happens to be the same spot where his wife's first husband and son died. Not his wife, I'm sorry, he's 16. His mother's first husband and what would have been his half-brother had died. No. No. But if you have any information, please call the Jackson County Sheriff's Office, Ben Fazio, Medical Legal Death Investigator, at 541-774-6800. That's 541-774-6800. Again, this is Prospect, Oregon. Ugh. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope that I've given you an idea with my opinions. Maybe you can build on my opinions and build on the opinions of his family to help us solve this. So, like I said, I hope you can do that. And I will see you next time. God bless you. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Stay warm. Please subscribe. We're trying to make it to 500 by Memorial Day. And 200 on the other channel by St. Patty's Day. And I know we can do it. And check out my links in the description. Thank you so much, guys. Bye-bye. Mwah.